This video is sponsored by Cricut. Hello DIY friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danie and today's DIY in progress is part 4, the final summary of my summer greenhouse diary, a series all about my journey to create a beautiful Pinterest inspired greenhouse in my backyard. As a reminder, this project has been split up into multiple episodes because it was my goal to make sure that I bring you an honest look at what it took for me to create my dream greenhouse. It just couldn't be summed up in 20 minutes.
I'm waiting!
It's been a true labor of love and one of the biggest projects I've ever tackled, and I've so enjoyed sharing this with all of you. Thank you everyone for your support through this, your comments. They've meant the world to me. Thank you so much for your kindness and love and support. So I just wanted you all to know that before we move on. My goodness, what an adventure. Now, if you are new here and you haven't seen part 1 to 3, welcome to my DIY channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join this amazing creative beast community. And please go check out the full playlist. I have linked it above and in my description box. If you are returning, then welcome back, my friends. We've come to the final leg of the race. It is time to get into the interior and really bring this space to life. And of course, I'm sure you're all curious about what did this greenhouse cost me. So make sure you watch all the way to the end because I'm going to be sharing a little bit of that. So with that said, let's see this greenhouse in its final form, shall we? Editor, roll the tape. Boop.
Exterminate! Exterminate!
DIY friends, welcome back to part 4. I am currently just walking out to the greenhouse right now because I wanted to walk you through my full vision of what I hope this to become. It's gonna get a little bit more echoey in here, but we are in the greenhouse right now. This interior is actually quite large. It definitely feels bigger than I think it looks on screen because I know some people were commenting on how it looks very small on the inside. The other thing I wanted to address was the door. So some of you were asking, why did the door go onto the inside? Here's the thing, let me show you. There is like a teeny tiny step up, as you can see Kenobi demonstrating. If the door opens, it's gonna be kind of like free floating in this area here. Second to that, because I wanna have it open for a lot of the time, I don't want a door being kind of like this like focal point on the outside. I'd rather it be able to kind of go inside, tuck into that corner, and then you get this beautiful view with this open door. So that was my reasoning for making the door kind of open inward. So let's get going on some plans for the interior. What I'm really hoping to do is create bench systems on both sides. I want to create a bench system that's going to go pretty much out to the edge of this tub here. I'm using this as my guideline, and I want it to run all the way across and then have storage underneath, and then we're gonna run a shelf on the top area here that I can use this piece to kind of create that shelf structure, if that makes sense. The other thing we need to do, as you know, this greenhouse is my way of celebrating and honoring my stepfather Vince, who recently passed, and so I really wanted to tribute this greenhouse to him. And to do that, I thought it would be really fun to play with this idea around creating like an old shop sign. So it says Vincenzo's Garden. That's gonna sit out front of the greenhouse, and on top of that I'm going to find a way to incorporate it inside the greenhouse onto the tub. So stay tuned on that because we're gonna be making some good stuff. Today I really want to focus on getting the bench tops cut and the shelves. I think I have enough wood in my wood stash to create the shelves, so let me show you what we're going to be using. We are going to use antique doors. I actually sourced this one because this was going to be my closet door in the front entryway that I decided against. This one I sourced from my neighbor who was giving it away, and so I picked it up in hopes that I'd find a use for it eventually. And then this one I've actually had for years. I was going to turn it into a headboard. This is a beautiful mahogany door. You know, it just never came. I never knew what to do with it. So we're doing something with it now. In order for me to use these doors, I need to go measure out the interior of the greenhouse, and then we can start cutting these down. I know that doors probably aren't the most practical, but I do think they're gonna look awesome. I love the way that they're just gonna really shape this space and make it feel a little bit more unique. But either way, I gotta get a tape and I gotta get measuring that space so that we can get a little bit more information of what to do next. I love it! just finished the one side. I actually think it looks really good. Hold on, let me get a better view. Check that out. I even got some things up there just to test it out. But how good does that look? The door is just so unique. It kind of adds some character to the tabletop. I do think that these lower pieces are gonna need to be stained or painted. I still need to figure out that aesthetic, but I wanna get everything in here first. But I think this looks great. Got this girl up here and she looks stunning. You look good. And same goes for this. This is just pine, so I think I'm either gonna paint this or, I don't know, some kind of stain that I think will match the pressure treat. To be honest, I haven't really made a whole lot of decisions in terms of what I wanna do for painting in here. Speaking to the painting of the greenhouse, my original plan was to paint the entire interior minus the lower boards. I wanted to kind of like go for like a two-toned effect where there was like a nice bright white above and then the rustic pressure treated below. But I gotta say, I really fell in love with that weathered look of the windows against the wood surrounding. Like there was just something so warm and rustic about it. I plan to just kind of leave it for the season, live in it, use it. Well, not live in it, but you know what I mean. And then next year I might paint it. And if I decide not to paint it, I'll just seal it up so that it's protected for many years to come. But I do want to share a cool product I found though. When I did have plans to paint it, I picked this up. This is called the Masking Liquid H2O. This allows you to paint glass in your windows. Then you can like paint over the window, paint on the glass as messy as you want, and then you just peel off the product on the window. Is that not magic?
I'm the magical man from Happy Land.
So when I am ready to paint the windows, this thing is going to save so much time and save my butt. Also, I should note that I do have plans to seal that pressure treated wood as well. When it comes to pressure treat, you need to give the wood time to dry completely before you can think to either add a stain or a sealer on top. So depending on where you live, it can actually take anywhere from weeks to months until it's dry enough. So I'm planning on giving the boards lots of time to dry, and then I'll seal maybe at the end of the summer or maybe early fall. The longer I wait, really the better. Well, it is officially 7:30 at night. I am officially exhausted and we officially have bench tops and shelves. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm still trying to figure out like how I want to do the lower half. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll just leave it. I'm not sure because I don't know how I'm going to use this space yet. So I kind of feel like I want to wait, and then if I want to add storage down the line, I think I could, but for now this might work just fine for me. So, oh my God, I can use the shelf now to vlog. Look, that's fun. I can use the shelf. Tomorrow, we're gonna be getting a little crafty, so I'm excited. I hope you're excited. So let's get tomorrow and let's get crafty. Woohoo! Good morning, DIY friends. I got the cup of joe in the hand. I wanted to show you a few things this morning. I haven't given anyone an update on the trench. I just want to show you. You can kind of see where it was, but it's almost gone. So yesterday it was a really bad storm. We were worried about the rain on some of the plants that we've been growing behind the scenes, and we moved them into the greenhouse. Look at all the green up there. Look at the shelves being used. It just brings me so much joy to see all these plants growing up in here. I'm just full of joy this morning. I'm just full of joy. I wish we could do all of the work we need to do inside here today, but we have a lot to do today, so let's go do it. Camera high five. Woohoo! Well then, it is a beautiful rainy day, so I figured we might as well come inside and do some indoor crafting. My favorite kind of thing to do on a rainy day like this. It's the best. But with all seriousness, I do want to get started on some really fun elements that are going to bring the interior of my greenhouse to life. I'm actually going to be using my handy dandy Jiminy Cricut right here. If you're not familiar with this particular machine, this is the Cricut Maker. I'll Vanna White it for you. But you've all seen me use this machine on many occasions to create unique DIY projects like my felt chair, my Einstein table, my space-themed kids room. I mean, it's pretty amazing what this machine alone can do. You can cut over 300 materials, including fabrics and paper, mat board, leather, and wood, which you've seen me use. For me, as a DIYer that likes to tackle different types of projects in the DIY space, a machine like this is perfect. One comment that I actually get a lot is, I bought my machine, now I don't know what to do with it. And with 300 plus materials to cut with it, I get that. But what do I do? Hopefully today I can make it a little bit easier for you. I'm gonna be showing you how to use the Cricut 2 different ways, and maybe it'll inspire you. Or if it doesn't inspire you, I actually have included my Cricut playlist in my description box if you wanna check it out and get a little more inspired. Okay, so first up, we are making a custom stencil. I wanted a way to play with the name Vincenzo's Garden, and I kind of came up with like an old vintage looking sign, as if Vincenzo's Garden was an old store or shop. So I came up with this. I love this little logo. I love the playfulness of this and thought it would look so beautiful on the front of the clawfoot bathtub. I'm very excited. So now what we need to do is we need to bring this into Design Space. Now this is free and it comes with your machine for a small fee. You can join the Cricut Access program, which gives you access to like 150,000 photos and assets that you can use to create really fun designs. So what I want to do first, I am going to upload my logo. Looks good to me. Oh, and there we go. So let's click on this and add this to our canvas. I actually think it fits better if we turn it. So I'm gonna turn it a little bit because then I can kind of scooch it into this corner. Now, obviously, if we wanna make a stencil, this is gonna have to go a little bit more in depth. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take a shape, just go all the way around it. So we have our shape. So now what I'd like to do, I am going to slice and dice. So what it did was like it basically sliced down. So I'm actually gonna get rid of everything that we don't need. And what we're left with is a shape with the stencil cut out of it. So it's kind of cool. Everything looks good to go. Normally you put it on transfer tape, so any of these free floating little pieces in the middle of the O's need to stay there in the center. So what I'm actually gonna do is create another shape, and I'm actually going to create little connector lines. They're like little tabbies that you wanna add on. Okay, officially time to turn this bad boy on. Woohoo! So I have my sheets back here, kind of fancy. They look just like this. I'm just going to add this on. This gets a bit tricky. And then I like to take my brayer tool, actually just like really flatten it down. We're gonna pop this in here and we just press go. And now we just watch her go. Amazing! Now all we need to do is basically just weed it out. Ta-da! So cute. So now all we need to do in our stencil set is we need to get to painting. We are in the garden house. There are a few things that I want to do before we actually stencil onto the tub, and the way for the stencil to work well is to cover over the stencil first with the color that's underneath. So we are going to paint this tub a fresh green, and then we are going to stencil. I ended up getting the Bear Marquee, but this bad boy, this brand, can actually paint over steel and metal. So this shade is called Secluded Woods. It's beautiful. Let's paint this up and let's get stenciling. I'm happy to report it looks officially exactly the same. Exterminate!
You would make a good Danie.
So now that we have the bathtub ready to go, I'm ready to move on to the next project. So I always had a vision of this like wood sign that would hang outside of the garden house. So I kind of wanted to create a legit sign using the Cricut because my penmanship isn't that great. And I thought using the vinyl, it would make a nice outline for all of the lettering. So I have a black permanent vinyl here, and we are going to be using the exact same logo that I had previously, but this time we don't have to cut anything out. We don't have to splice anything. What you see is perfect. So I'm going to click make it, and we just go bada bing, bada boom. Cut me some vinyl.
Yes, Danie, right away.
project was cut, I first removed any vinyl that I didn't use. All scraps are usable scraps, so waste nothing. Once I was happy with that, I used my transfer paper, cut it to the size, and carefully placed it on top of my logo and used my scraper to help push it into the design to make sure there was good adhesion. Then I just simply did the same thing all over again to make a second one. All right, so now we have our vinyl cut. I'm actually in my truck right now because I'm on my way to go pick up the metal holder that's gonna hold the sign, and there's a place nearby me that like I just absolutely love. It's called Legacy, and it has like a bunch of kind of antique hardware pieces, just like literally anything you can imagine. If you love antiques and Farmhouse, this is the place to go. And I also need to pick up the wood that we're going to be making this sign with, so let's get going. Woohoo! So I traveled to Legacy Vintage Building Materials. As you can see, they got options. But I did land on a sign holder that was so cute, so ornate, and I just knew it was perfect for my vision. Oh, and I also went to the hardware store and picked up some wood. Love that for me. Okay, friends, so a few things happened last night.
Calm down a bit.
My hanger. I didn't want it to be brown, so I did spray paint it with this flat black that's made for exterior and metal surfaces. The other thing I did, I kind of had to reevaluate the size of the logos that I made based on this piece here. It was too big, so I actually recut new pieces, and I was able to quickly cut this by 8 by 10. This is just like a regular hobby board pine, but I don't like that this is just a regular old square. I was thinking it would be really nice if we kind of gave this a nice like beveled edge, just to give it like a real professional looking look. So I thought what we could do is go set up the router, kind of route all the way around all the sides, and just give it a brand new look. Let's go do that. This is primo. Once the paint was finally dry, it was time to add my logo. I carefully removed the backing, leaving the logo stuck to the clear transfer paper. I then simply positioned it and carefully transferred the logo onto the wood, really adding pressure to make sure it was good and stuck. Now the permanent vinyl will last up to 3 years outdoor, but I wanted to ensure it had a little extra protection, so I decided to use this interior and exterior clear coat spray on top. All right, so I've been thinking about storage in this greenhouse, and I decided to pick up these lovely wood boxes from IKEA, and I thought these were going to be perfect because you can customize them. And I thought if I stain these up, add some cute little labels to them, it'll look so cute in this greenhouse. It'll kind of have this rustic look, and I have to say the craftsmanship on these boxes are quite divine. Look at this joinery right here. Look at that.
It was too perfect. It looked machine made.
But either way, I want to stain these up, and I'm going to do it with a Puritan pine. It's a nice light brown. I feel like it's going to bring in that rustic look. It's going to work out. It's going to be great. Check this out. Is this not the cutest light you guys have ever seen? It's solar and it sits outside. It's got like a little farmhouse look. The only problem with this light right now is that this pole is too long. So let me tell you what I'm thinking. We're gonna cut this bar down, remove it off this piece, and then we're gonna re-weld it onto this. Yeah? Next on my to-do list, I really wanted to make sure the pine shelves were protected, so I painted these with my usual porch and patio paint in a bright white. That bright white really helped lift the space and give a nice contrast against all the dark wood. Plus, I didn't want to take away from the real stars of the show, the plants, which, you know, eventually will go in there. Oh, and did I mention Holly stopped by? She didn't come to paint, but naturally when you come to my house, I put you to work. So she happily accepted and we got to painting. And do you guys remember that hardware that came with the bathtub? I definitely didn't want to miss an opportunity to add some of those elements into this space. So I cut and installed the fun soap tray into the windowsill. And then I took the towel bar and added it to the bottom of my shelf so that I could use it as a plant hanger later on. As the final touches to my day, it was time to finish off all the lighting in the space. I actually sourced this really cool industrial looking solar light that I secured to the ceiling and installed the solar panel on the back so it was out of sight, but still had access to the sun. And the last lighting addition was more of a fun aesthetic thing, but I did find these adorable rustic solar light strings that I thought would look so cute in the evenings. It just added a vibe, you know? Okay, DIY friends, I feel like today might be the final day to our greenhouse adventure, and I'm so excited to bring it together. Like today we get to do all the styling and the decor. There are a couple elements going into here that are more for decor versus, I would say, functionality, but it's just gonna make it feel so cute and so cozy and just like be my space. So with that said, I actually have Holly here. Hello! And she's helping me out today, but I want to give you guys like kind of a rundown of all the things that we're going to be styling this greenhouse with and all the plants that are going to go into it. Our theme today is herbology meets secret garden meets Narnia meets Danie. So let me walk you through everything that's going in today. Oh my God, look at this vibe. Do you feel my vibes? Do you feel the vibes?
Art thou feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
Do you feel the herbology meets secret garden meets Narnia vibes in here, or what? This is really special to me. I actually sent Vince flowers for Father's Day one year, and it came in this little blue truck, so this guy's staying in here. We got some beautiful aesthetic books. I just picked these up at like vintage stores for really, really cheap. So this is just really fun stuff to decorate with. Also, I recently picked this up at a thrift store. So this is actually World War I memorabilia, but I picked this up because I thought it would look so beautiful hanging little tools out of it. I love it. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be worn like this so that they could access all the little pockets and everything, but like, you know, when you're out in the forest and you find some mushrooms there, that would be good for a remedy later on. So you grab your mushrooms and you put them in your little sack. You know? Moving on. I also brought this in, so for gardening and you're wearing white, you can throw this on so you don't get yourself dirty. We fixed our cracked lady. She's got a beautiful wabi-sabi thing going on right now. You're precious, darling, and you're beautiful. So today we're going to be taking all of these cups and we're going to be planting them into these bad boys, and we're gonna fill the tub. It's a little out of season for potatoes, so we're actually gonna just do some like random vegetables in here, but we're gonna fill up the tub. It's gonna be amazing. Let's get this day going. Woohoo!
I don't know how to be a poet or a sage. All I can do is just tell you in this simple way. Yeah, I'm so in love with you.
Well, DIY friends, I set out to create the most beautiful Pinterest-inspired greenhouse of my dreams, and I feel like my mission was accomplished. It is so crazy to think that this greenhouse started as a passion project, but at the end of it all, this space represented so much more to not only me, but my entire family and friends who all came together to make this dream space come to life. Through tragedy, Vincenzo's garden was born, a beautiful space of healing and love that I needed in my life. And let me tell you, when I stand in that space, I can feel him with me. This greenhouse embodied the love he put into this world, and that beyond everything made this project worth all the hard work. DIY friends, we have a greenhouse! Oh man, thank you so much for coming along this crazy journey with me. And I also realize you're probably curious, what did a project like this cost me? I worked really hard to try and source as many items and elements for free, but even so, this did cost me close to $3,600. $3,604.28 to be exact. That seems like a lot, but I had it in my head that I was going to spend closer to $5,000. So I'm pretty happy to walk away with that number. Also, I realized I didn't actually get to talk to you guys about what our plan was for water. So from the house, we're actually going to be running a line that comes from a splitter, and it's going to run all the way to the back. So we are actually going to have a spout back there. So we will have functional water all the time. And I'm also planning on creating some DIY rain catcher systems, just so we don't always have to use our well water if we don't want to. I should mention that I don't think that this is the last time you're going to see this greenhouse or an episode around the greenhouse, because I still want to paint it, maybe stain. I want to add storage in there eventually. I just need some time to use the space, figure out how it works for me. So let's call this a to be continued. I can't thank you enough for watching this epic 4-part series. If you loved it, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps my videos, and let me know in the comment section what was your favorite part of this journey. Honestly, making those signs and personalizing it to Vincenzo's garden, that was just amazing. So big thank you to Cricut for sponsoring this last leg of the adventure. And of course, to all of my patrons, my wonderful DIY family, you all got to see so much of this experience ahead of time. So thank you for your support and love through everything. As always, my friends, stay positive, stay creative, love your magic, and keep on DIYing. Bye-bye.